Now let's move on to a national story. Burger King is making headlines. Why? Because it's renouncing its U.S. citizenship. Now, this article from BillMoyers.com, he writes, "Time to eat somewhere else." Now, this post first appeared at the Campaign for America's Future blog, but it's worth reading to see what the other side thinks. Now, me, of course, I'm a freedom person. I don't pay taxes, at least the ones I can avoid, because I don't endorse the wars and the wars against peaceful people at home and the wars against brown people and foreigners abroad. I don't support any of that. I don't want to be a part of it, and if I'm giving my money to these organizations, then I am a part of it. Now, the Burger King franchise is now moving to Canada to avoid paying excruciatingly high taxes. It's so painful that the prices of their burgers and fries are going to have to climb as the taxes take all their profits away. So they're moving to a place that's not as restrictive with their taxes. And look what happens. Oh, Americans are so upset. The burger's moving north. Well, Burger King. This is, now remember, keep in mind, as I'm reading this article, this is from the perspective of a non-freedom person, someone who says, they should stay here and pay as high taxes as the state demands, because there's nothing greater than obeying the state. Burger King is the latest company announcing its plans to renounce its U.S. citizenship in order to dodge taxes. It plans to buy Tim Hortons and then pretend Tim Hortons bought them so they can claim to be Canadian. Tim Hortons renounced its own U.S. citizenship in 2009 and moved their headquarters from Ohio to Canada. The announcement is prompting calls like this petition you can sign, link at BillMoyers.com, by Campaign for America's Future that calls on Burger King's CEO to keep the restaurant chain American or I will dine elsewhere. Yeah, I don't think the clientele at Burger King calls what they're doing dining. Why is Burger King prosperous? Why do people feel safe eating food served at Burger King? Why do people recognize a Burger King when they see one? Why does something called Burger King with outlets across the country and the world even exist? Well, Bill Moyers is claiming Burger King didn't build that by themselves. Bullet point 1. Consumers believe Burger King's beef and other offerings are safe to eat because they know our taxpayer-funded government inspectors and regulators make sure of it. Bullet point 2. Taxpayer-funded government courts and agencies make sure that other fast food outlets can't call themselves Burger King to trick people into eating there instead. Taxpayer-funded agencies and courts also make sure that other restaurants can't call their burgers a Whopper. Well, isn't that great? How did they do all that? Oh, yeah, with violence. Bullet point number 4. Burger King's customers use taxpayer-funded roads when they drive to a local Burger King outlet. Oh, the roads! Got to use that argument. Number 5. Burger King's workers and managers were educated in taxpayer-funded schools. Well, that's an assumption, but it's pretty close to true. And is that good? Is what they're calling education really education, or is it indoctrination? Number 6. The money Burger King collects is created and regulated by the tax-funded government and is deposited in banks that are regulated by the government to be safe and trustworthy and protected by taxpayer-provided police. Number 7, Burger King's ultra-low-wage employees are paid so little that they receive food stamps, Medicaid, earned income tax credits, and other taxpayer-funded government safety net services. Number 8, and finally, the government enables Burger King to be something called a corporation at all. Corporations are entirely government-created entities with special rights, privileges, and protections that are granted by the government. Well, they finally landed on one that's true. Let's talk about why corporations are bad and why they wrestle for control of the government gun on the other end of this free market break. So let's continue with our words and arguments here. Here comes some more bad words and arguments from BillMoyers.com, where this horrendous blog post pretty much credits government with inventing air. Every single step to Burger King's success was backed and enabled up by our taxpayer-funded American system. Our government is the reason that Burger King is extremely profitable. Burger King didn't make the road that brings customers to them. that school that educates their employees, that court that protects their trademarks, that fire truck and that police car that protects their building. We, the people, did. And now Burger King wants to harvest that prosperity, take it from the country, and made them what they are and stick us with the bill for those things. But they still want us to eat their food and hand over our dollars. Is that true? Would Burger King be without any customers if not for the government? Would people be completely unable to fund themselves or find roads for themselves to travel on? I'm skeptical. So let's continue. We've covered the Burger King thing, and I don't want to beat that horse to death because it was pretty painful to read that article from BillMoyers.com where he's basically taking the state's side in everything, saying that the state produces everything in the world, and without them we'd all be lost little children. Forgetting, of course, that the state is just made up of people, of course, and without the state as an organization, it would just be those people still doing the same old stuff, building roads and schools and organizations, but no, people just can't exercise their imagination to that level.